Audio at all? Do you know that? To our top story tonight, what's the one message we keep hearing over and over again from the White House, the one thing at the forefront of most Americans' minds?
I've put forward very specific plans that we know would create jobs.
We've got too many good jobs we've got to create. We need to create more jobs faster.
Well, it seems to make sense. After all, we have an unemployment rate of 8.1%, almost 15 million people who are out of work or have just given up looking. But there's a federal program with incentives that states can give to companies that hire folks. And guess what? Many states won't even apply because they say they don't have the funding to even administer these programs. Joining me now are small business owner Clint Greenleaf and economist Peter Morici. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me. We are having some audio problems, so bear with me through this. Peter, I want to start with you because, this is one of those classic stories. States were invited to submit ideas for reemployment demonstration projects. The government plans to initially pick 10 winners and then reward those states with some kind of subsidies for these programs. In a lot of cases, the states have said, you know what? This is a gimmick. We can't afford to even administer these programs. We're just going to pass on the money. I'm not sure I've ever heard of states passing on money.
Well, states do pass on money all the time when the bureaucracy is too intense. And it's very similar to what's going on, say, with drilling for oil in the Gulf. They're with these regulations and paperwork. Or remember the cash for clunkers and on the morass of paperwork that went with that? It's just too expensive to run one of these programs for the states to decide to participate.
Yeah. I mean, Clint, does that make sense to you? It sounds a lot like when they offer incentives to small businesses to go ahead and hire people, and you kind of know it's a temporary one-time thing, so you think twice about taking them up on their offer because you know in the long run it's going to end up costing you money, right?
Yeah, these plans are horrible, but it basically amounts to taking a piss in a forest fire and hoping that you're going to somehow be able to stop the process here. It's not going to be able to cover it. I mean, for me to get $2,000 to hire one person for a job I'm not sure if I needed in the first place, it's not going to be able to cover the cost. God forbid the person doesn't work out, now I can't fire them. There's way too much bureaucracy and red tape for me. Okay,
we all just blanched here on the set on that analogy that you used. I mean, it may be appropriate. It was kind of a lot for dinner time television. But Peter,
sorry about that.
No, that's
well,
okay.
Maybe, how about shooting some lighter fluid on a forest fire? The whole program's absurd. The reason this gentleman isn't hiring people is because he's not selling as many books as he'd like. He's not, if demand for his product were better, if there was more economic activity, then it would make sense to hire people. You have to have sales before you have employment. That's what this administration doesn't get.
Yeah. Clint, I mean, Peter's not casting aspersions on your business there by any means, but he's making the point that the thing that makes you hire workers is actual demand, and that when the government, well-intentioned or not, I mean, obviously the intentions here are good, but when they try to sort of, jerry-rig the system to create employment, it doesn't work.
Right, and the problem is that there's a lot of pent-up demand. I actually have some demand, but I'm so frightened. We've got the fiscal cliff coming. We've got tax uncertainty. We've got the election. We've got Europe. We have this just collapse of logic in the QE3 that's come out. There's so many bad things the government's done. I'm not really willing to take the risk and risk my capital right now, even with demand out there.
Peter, what could the government do, do you think, to create jobs right now? I mean, it is very easy to stand on the sidelines and throw stones at what's going on, but is there one solid, concrete thing they could do?
Well, yeah, I think they could focus on the trade deficit with China, because the money that goes to China is money that leaves but doesn't come back to buy foreign products, but doesn't come back to buy American products. That's one problem. Another is if we develop more domestic energy, even consuming the same amount, then that's much less that leaves for the Middle East. Again, that doesn't come back. Finally, I think small businesses could use a lot of help from the banks, and that is banks that were more able and ready to lend. And recognizing that the banking crisis that we had in 2008-9 wasn't from a lack of regulation, but it was from a failure of the regulations that we had. Yeah. Dodd-Frank really was more than we needed. Sarbanes-Oxley was supposed to solve most of those problems.
Clint, is there one thing the government could do to help you out right now?
Yeah, just get the hell out of the way. That's all I'm asking. Just get out of the way.
All right, Clint, you're not one to mince words. I think I love you. Thanks to both of you for coming on. That is, I mean, he just says it.
I like that.
Yeah, I do too. All right, thanks, guys. So moving on now to global issues. More than 120